Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Diane meets with Carly in her kitchen. Carly thanks her for coming as she needs Diane to help keep her out of prison. They sit down, and Carly explains how she went to a meeting of the 5 families when they thought Sonny was dead, and she said she was taking over the business. Diane asks why she'd do that. Carly explains it was to keep Cyrus from taking over and running drugs through Port Charles, and her family was in danger. She reveals someone was wearing a wire, and the FBI has a recording of her committing RICO violations. Diane asks how she came about this information. Carly would rather not reveal her source, but says they broke into the FBI database and found the evidence. Diane comments, "Great, another felony." She asks Carly why she and her friend broke into the FBI's database. Carly explains that she wasn't involved in the hacking, and that someone brought the recording to her. She explains Jason was blackmailed with this evidence into becoming their informant. She also has it on good authority that the FBI won't honor their deal with him, and will charge her anyway. Diane can't disagree, so Carly wants to call their bluff and fight this in court. She asks what her chances of being acquitted are. Diane asks if Carly conducted any mob business, wired money, or transported illegal or stolen goods. Carly says Jason wouldn't let her do any of that. Diane asks who was at the meeting. Carly says Cyrus, Selena, Novak, and Bushima. The latter 2 are both dead. She doubts Cyrus or Selena would cooperate and testify. Diane notes the FBI's case rests only on this recording, and in this age of deep fakes, the FBI would have to produce the original audio file to show it wasn't tampered with. Carly says the file can be listened to but not modified, so where does that leave them? Diane admits that given her history with Sonny, there could be a strong case against her. Diane says they could argue she did what she did to protect her children, and that takes guts, so she'd have to testify to that on the stand. However, even with all her tricks, Carly probably has a 30% chance of being acquitted, and she doesn't like those odds. Diane tells Carly to let Jason keep doing his thing, and if he has a plan, and she rushes to save him, think about how that historically has worked out for her. Carly still wants to be prepared if she needs a defense. Diane says she'll work on the defense and wants Carly to sit tight. Dex stops by Joss' new place. She asks what he's doing here. He says he wanted to see the new place. She wonders how he knew about it, and he reminds her that she told her about this apartment and that the front gate was already open as someone else is visiting the main house. He brought food from Bobby's and has enough for Trina. Joss says Trina is taking care of her sick Aunt Stella. She invites him in to help her move some things around. Joss asks Dex what he's learning at the academy. Dex says he's learning that each situation is a judgment call, and sometimes you have to take a step back before you do something you can't take back. Joss says she's learning that lesson lately, and there are a few things she wishes she could take back. He admits to the same. Dex tells Joss this is a great place, and he admits he used to think about her someday moving in with him. She confesses she thought about it too. Dex liked having dinner the other night and asks what it would take for them to get back to where they were before he was willing to kill for Sonny. Joss says he didn't cross that line when other people in her life have, and she told him the other night he didn't have to prove himself to her. She sees now he belongs at the PCPD, and she's happy for him. Dex says if his becoming a cop pleases her, he'd be good with that too. Dex has an early morning, but Joss has nothing to do tomorrow. She suggests maybe she'll see him and the other cadets running in the park. At the Quartermains, Violet runs into her dad's arms in the living room. She asks how he is and if he is feeling better. Tears stream down his face, and he says he just needed a bandage. Violet asks if they can go home now. He explains she needs to stay with Uncle Chase a bit longer as he's going away for a little while. Violet begs to come with him, but he explains she can't go where he is going. He explains he's sick in his head and his heart, and he started drinking alcohol after Grandpa died, and he shouldn't have. She asks if he can stop, but he explains he can't, so he has to go to a special hospital that will help him stop. She asks how long he'll be gone. He tells her 3 months. She cries that is a long time, and she could help him stop drinking. Finn cries that he doesn't want to leave her, but if he doesn't go, he won't get better. He can't let what happened the other night ever happen again. She cries. She thought he was dead like Grandpa. Finn sobs that he's sorry, and he's so proud of her for calling Tracy for help. Violet says she wanted to take care of him. He says she did, but he's supposed to be taking care of her, and right now, he can't do that. He explains that's why he has to go away, to become the best dad she deserves. He tells her this isn't her fault, and he loves her so much, and they embrace. Chase says they need to get going. Violet says she will miss her dad, and gives him a bracelet she made to keep with him. He tells her he loves her and departs with Chase. He blows her a kiss on the way out, and Brooke Lynn comforts Violet as she bursts into tears. Later, Violet asks Brooke Lynn about her dad's hospital, and if it is a nice place. Brooke Lynn says it's a beautiful place, and he can hike and swim. She asks, like camp? Brooke Lynn says exactly. Violet asks what she's going to do while her dad is away. Brooke Lynn says there are tons of things they can do here. Violet wants to swim, finish learning how to ride a bike, and ride horses. Violet says this house is so big, and she could get lost. Brooke Lynn says this house is full of family, and they all help and look out for one another. Violet says, like you and Uncle Chase are helping Daddy? Brooke Lynn tells her just like that. Violet says she's glad they are family, and Brooke Lynn hugs her. Chase drives Finn to the rehab facility. He parks the car, and Finn thanks his brother for letting him say goodbye to Violet. He knows it went against the restraining order. Chase says he was right. Violet needed to see him before he left. Finn is sorry about what he said to him, Brooke Lynn and Liz, and he can't forgive himself. He also passed out and frightened his child. Chase says it could have been worse. Chase relays that he's broken up so many domestic disturbances, and the kids had to watch one of their parents be taken away. He could have made it worse for Violet, but he didn't. Finn thinks he already did. She thought he was dead. Chase says he has an illness, so he's going away to get well. Finn can't believe his kid brother is now the one coming to his rescue, and he thanks him for taking care of Violet. He admits Chase did the right thing, and he'll always be grateful for him wanting to protect Violet. Chase promises his brother that he and Brooke Lynn will take great care of Violet, but he also advises his brother not to take shortcuts to get home as soon as possible. Finn says this isn't his first rodeo. Chase urges him to think of Violet and how he can't put her through this again. Finn says he's going to do this for Violet. Finn decides he wants to head into the facility on his own and tells Chase he loves him. Chase says he loves him too. Finn sees no point in stalling, gets out of the car, and walks into the building. Chase ends up beating the steering wheel before taking off in tears. Sam returns home having just dropped Scout off at a sleepover, and Rocco is with his friends at a baseball game. She wants to check on Danny, but Dante says Jason picked him up. She asks where they went. Dante says he was going to take him to the gym, and he thought she and Jason were on the same page concerning Danny. She says she wanted to talk about that with him, and she and Spinelli found out what the FBI has on Jason. It's evidence against Carly. Dante says breaking into the FBI database is a federal offense, and asks who else knows about this. She says Spinelli and Carly, and now him. Dante states now he's an accessory, and she can't tell anyone about this. He says if Kate finds out what she did, she could be taken away from her kids. Sam insists Spinelli covered their tracks, but Dante says this is why he didn't want her getting involved with this. Sam says she had to know what the FBI had on Jason. He tells her to leave this alone, don't talk to anyone about this, and act like this never happened. He says she has to hope this never comes out. Later, Sam admits she knows Dante is right. Knowing Jason put Carly above his kids, if Danny ever found out, it would break his heart. Dante says that he can never know. Sam calls Spinelli and leaves a message telling him not to do anything more about the case until he hears from her. Jason takes Danny to the garage to see his bike, saying he didn't know the gym was closed. Danny thinks this is better. He asks his son, "Are you sure you are ready to do this?" Danny answers, "Oh yeah." They get to work on the motorcycle, and Danny asks if his dad taught him how to fix cars and motorcycles. Jason explains that Alan fixed people, and he learned how to do this after his accident. Jason doesn't remember much about the accident other than he was worried about his brother AJ drinking and driving. They crashed, and he woke up and didn't know anything or anyone due to a traumatic brain injury. Danny says Mom says he's drawn to danger. Jason admits he has done dangerous jobs that he can't discuss, and his mom just doesn't want him to get hurt. Jason suggests they get back to the bike. After repairing it, Danny asks when he gets to learn to ride. Jason says they'll have to ask his mom first. Danny doesn't see his mom agreeing. Jason notes there are other things they can do. Eventually, Jason drops Danny off back at home. Danny raves about working on a bike with his dad since the gym was closed. Jason has an early day tomorrow and takes off. Danny heads to bed beaming, and Dante and Sam hug.